नमस्ते, प्रणाम, गीता ध्यानम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna. The ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O goddess, showerer of the nectar like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters. O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकीं परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Today we will read the 21st shloka of the Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, the 4th adhyaya of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The previous reading in the 28th shloka, we got to hear from Sri Krishna as to how a person doesn't do anything although he is perceived to be performing all the activities. And what kind of a person that he is, that Sri Krishna has explained. Tyaktva karma phala sangha nitya trupto nirashraya, the one who is always content, satisfied, not hankering after anything all the time, one who is ever content. The nitya truptaha nirashrayaha tyaktva karma phala sangam, having abandoned the attachment to the fruits of the karma. That is the key point that Sri Krishna is telling. Having abandoned the fruits of karma, one who is ever content. He doesn't seek anything. He doesn't run after anything. He is content with whatever he has. And nirashrayaha. He is not dependent on any of the external, factors to help him out. Because Lord is the only help that he has. His entire belief is on the Lord. He doesn't depend on any external help. Nirashrayaha. Karmanya abhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Although he is engaged in work, depending on nothing, though he is engaged in all the activities, verily he does not do anything. That's what Sri Krishna means by performing inaction in action and knowing, understanding inaction in action and action in inaction. And then we read about that beautiful story that Sri Ramakrishna had told about the gopis when they got stranded on the other side of the bank of river Yamuna. They wanted to come back to Vrindavan and there was no boat, nothing, no transport was available. And then they just saw Sage Vyasa coming this way and requested him, can you please help us cross this Yamuna? Vyasa said that first you give me something to eat. And then the gopis, with whatever delicacies they were carrying with them in their pots and bundles, they offered everything to Sage Vyasa. He ate sumptuously. He ate it to his heart content, all the delicacies. And then he said, okay, now we have to cross to Vrindavan, isn't it? Then he prayed to river Yamuna and he said, O Mother Yamuna, If it is true that I am really fasting today, please make way for us. We have to cross the river. We have to go to the other bank. We have to go to Vrindavan. And the surprise of the surprise, river Yamuna stopped flowing, made way for sage Vyasa and all the gopis to cross over that entire distance of from this bank to the other bank, to the other shore. And they reached Vrindavan. After reaching there, gopis they asked this question to Ved Vyasa that, revered sir, that you have eaten all these delicacies we have offered to you, and still you say I am fasting. And surprise of all the surprises, this river Yamuna accepting your pleading, accepting your prayer that if I'm really fasting today, make way for us, and she made way for you. The reality is you have eaten so much. And then Ved Vyasa said, don't go by the word fasting as the physical sense of fasting. The yearning, the longing that I am having for Krishna itself is the fasting, and that is true fasting. How much I am longing, how much I am yearning to meet my beloved Lord Krishna. And river Yamuna met the way. So that's how, although he is performing so many actions, he is not doing anything. That person, that man doesn't do anything, although he is performing actions, if he is nitya truptaha nirashraya and tyaktva karma phalasanga. So that was the 20th shloka, and now today we will see what Sri Krishna further talks about such a person, the yogi who does action in inaction. Nirashiryata chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan napnoti kilbisham. That sort of person, nirashihi, without any hope, without any desire, without any expectations. Niraha ashihi, no expectations, no desires, no, not hoping for anything that I will get in return. Nirashihi yat chittatma. Chitta is mind, Atma is self, whose self and mind is controlled. That person who hopes for nothing, who desires for nothing, and with the self and the mind, Chitta and Atma, fully controlled. Tyakta sarva parigraha, having abandoned all the possessions. Tyakta, tyakta is abandoned. Sarva, all. Parigraha is all possessions, having abandoned, having renounced all the possessions. Shariram kevalam karma. The body is engaged in the activity, in the karma, in the duty. Mind and self are not involved. They are already gone. Tyakta sarva parigraha, having abandoned all possessions. And the mind and self totally under control. That person, although shariram kevalam karma, the body is doing all the work, but kurvan napnoti kilbisham. Kurvan is kurvan na apnoti. He is not doing, he is not incurring any kilbisham, any sin. He is not actually doing anything. Who commits sin? One who does something with the desire. With the desire of lust and greed, when one does something, that is kilbisham, that is sinful activity. But when a person who has fully controlled his senses, his mind, his self, his entire mind and senses under the control of his self, and having renounced all the possessions. And what are the possessions? Not only just this, the physical entities of house and look, let they be there, but the ownership of it, the ownership of me and mine, having given up. It is all the Lord's. Whatever is having, it is all Lord's. He may give it, He may take it back. So what? I don't have anything in this world. With that attitude, hoping for naught, his mind and self-controlled, having abandoned all possessions, although performing karma by the body alone, he incurs no sin. Kurvan apnoti kilvisham. He is the purest of the pure person. That karma is classified as sin, which retards the moral and spiritual growth. Anything which retards, which hampers the spiritual growth of a person with the intention of acquiring lust, fulfilling the desires raised out of desires born out of lust and greed. Anything done in that manner is sin. But the one who does not have any of these tendencies, because he has fully controlled his senses, he has fully controlled his mind under the self, and he has renounced everything. He may be living in a sprawling mansion, but in his heart of heart he knows, this is not mine, this is the Lord's. He has given me this palatial bungalow today to live in, to stay in. Tomorrow he may take it back. It is his wish, it is his will. One who has this understanding, that is called, that understanding, that kind of thinking is called as renouncing all the possessions. That is tyakta sarva parigraha. And with that kind of attitude, when a person starts doing activity, he is a real yogi. A yogi is he who has conquered desires, and therefore he incurs no sin. His body, mind and senses get themselves purified because of being desirelessness. There is no desire. He is not expecting anything. There is no nirashihi. He doesn't have any expectations. He doesn't have any kind of desires. He is leading the life under the blessing of the Lord. That's it. Whatever Lord provides, he is happy, ever content. That we have seen. That nitya trupta. Nobody makes exclusive ownership over air so essential to living. Now we all breathe the air. Now do we make possession the air in this room is mine? Do we call it? This air in this room that I am breathing in, that I am breathing out, that is my air. Can anybody do it? So everything belongs to the Lord. I don't have anything. I don't have my claim over anything. The claim is only the Lord's. Such a person, similar is the attitude of the yogi towards all bodily requirements, which he reduces to bare minimum. Whatever are the requirements, they are all for the sustenance of the body, because the body is the temple of the Lord. We cannot just disrespect this body. We have to take care of it, because ultimately the indweller has to enjoy this stay inside the body. Till then, yes, let us make all the effort to preserve this body, to feed this body, to protect this body. But that is from the understanding that we are doing it in the form of a sacrifice with the one who is staying inside during this journey of ours, till the time that one who stays inside decides to discard this body. Till such time the body must work properly, isn't it? He has to be comfortable. The one who is dweller inside, once he goes out, fine. Just put the body to fire and get rid of everything. Just a poundful of ashes then. till then, yes, whatever bodily requirement is there has to be fulfilled. Owning unnecessary things distracts the mind. There is no thought in him of ownership of the few things kept for proper physical sustenance. The yogi will have a very few things. He won't carry any baggage. His possessions are so less, the real yogi. He who maintains this state of mind is said to have abandoned all possessions. And after all, abandoning the ownership, sense of ownership of these possessions is also renunciation, is also abandoning the ownership of these possessions. Useful bodily activities take place in him automatically. Yes, all the bodily functions, whatever the duties that come to him, he performs them as the Lord's duty, and that's the end of it. There is no ownership even in the performance of that duty, and since it is done without any desire, since it is done without any attachment to the fruit of that action, that person doesn't incur any sin. The question of sinning does not arise in this exalted state of mind, in this exalted state of working, performing any activities. He may be doing so many activities, he may be totally busy in doing all these activities externally. Externally, he might be, we will say, oh my God, he's working like a donkey. He's working like a dog. He's working like a horse. So much of work, work, work. But internally, he's not doing anything because he has no desires. Because he is ever content. He doesn't hanker after anything. He doesn't hanker after lust and greed. So, whatever he is doing is just for the sake of doing the duty as the Lord's work. So that is the 21st shloka that Sri Krishna has told us today, and we stop reading with that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ram Krishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Jai Swami.